Hey, welcome back to the Artie Lange Show. I'm sitting here with a real funny guy, Christian Finnegan. What's up, buddy?
Oh, my God. Thank you. I feel like a really funny guy.
Do you?
Thanks for having me. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You got your St. Patty's Day green? You still into this? Or?
Yeah, I just can't let it go. It's sad.
Are you a major, like...
oh, no.
You don't get into that at all?
No. I avoid it like the plague. I actually wrote something for Penthouse a couple of years ago. For a few years ago, they were doing like humor articles when they were trying to forget that people had the internet and could look at boobies online.
Yeah, I know. Trying to forget that they're part of an obsolete business.
Exactly. Dying. Who would have thought that like naked women would go out and be a dying business model?
Yeah, they're just getting it in a different form.
Yeah. But I wrote something about basically how much I hated St. Patrick's Day, and well, I've been to Ireland, and there you kind of get it. It's like because people in Ireland, it's like they get drunk, and all of a sudden they want to write poetry, and they get smart. They don't want to just puke.
Yeah, when James Joyce does it. When somebody from Long Island comes in and turns over a Fiat.
When
that's different.
Sully starts, chanting the lyrics to "Jump Around" or something, it's not. Doesn't make you feel quite as festive about your
Was
people.
there a point in your life where you were into it, though?
Never. I was.
Unless you were raised properly, it sounds.
I've never been a joiner in general. Do you know what I mean? That it's just like, oh, everybody's doing one thing. I don't want to do that.
I think a good comedian shouldn't be a joiner.
I agree. I think that the famous George Carlin quote that a comedian is either Carlin or Bill Hicks, that like when the consensus is forming, the comedian is what is it? Hey, wait a second.
Well, I think it's Carlin. It's so funny you said that because as we were just talking about this, right before you said George Carlin's name, I remember him in an interview. He said, "I'm not a big fan of groups with an agenda."
Yeah.
And he's like, he goes, "You ever hang out with a guy and he's nice and you say, well, I like Ted, but when he's with Tony, he's not that. He's a little different." And then before you know it, Ted and Tony have a slogan. Yeah. And they're wearing like a uniform,
they have
hat.
A thing they do. Well, that's why improv people and stand-ups don't get along, is because improv people are joiners. They want to
be part of a group.
They even say it in their terminology. They say like, "Oh, let's play together." Whereas the comedians, no, we work together. It's a totally different idea.
And they're supportive of each other.
Yeah, it's so gross
to a fault.
Oh, it's creepy.
Yeah,
it's so
comics
creepy.
are when that thing clashes, and it always happens in sketch comedy. I worked at Mad TV for a couple of years, but I know a lot of people who worked at SNL, and it sounds like the same exact thing. Sketch comedy shows are where actors and improv people run head to head into stand-up.
Stand-up, darkness, and weirdness.
Darkness and just like hatred. And they're like, "No, I don't want to come to your thing Wednesday night, whatever you're doing.
It's probably why they've transitioned away from stand-ups in SNL. Like, I don't blame them, honestly. It's like if I was casting a show, I would rather cast it with a bunch of like gung-ho, happy
There's
improv
a lot of
people.
anger, But and it's not good for the group as a whole. But don't you find that a negative atmosphere creates good comedy? Because
absolutely,
yeah, because you have to be great before you say something. If you know you're going to get bashed for something that's lame, you'll think twice before you say something.
That is true,
and you'll naturally get better, and the writing will help, right?
I always had this theory that funny is the enemy of amusing. Do you know what I mean? It's like
yes.
I don't want to be amusing. And
you don't want to be cute.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
it's like funny. Not to say that somebody necessarily needs to be hurt, but there has to be some sort of awkwardness or catharsis or just tenderness or vulnerability there, or else it's just amusing.
The best type of comedy is created out of real tension.
Yeah,
I think.
Exactly.
And it's funny, my aunts would call me sometimes when I was doing Mad TV, and they would say, "That was a cute sketch," and I wanted to strangle myself.
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, that was so cute." And I'm like, no, that's the direct opposite of what I'm going for.
Yeah, it's really not helpful to me at all. No.
I just mentioned, we were talking before, that I saw you on TV the other night in a syndicated show, Are We There Yet?
Are We There Yet? Yeah.
And now,
not exactly challenging the paradigms,
Well, look, it's a job, and like we've all done that. But I mean, think about that. That's major success. Like, that's a hit. You hit a big solid double to right center field. You're on a show.
Absolutely.
It's syndicated.
I mean, great people, and what's funny is that it's a family show, and so it's meant to. It's not going for.
It's supposed to be corny on some level.
Yeah, they're not trying to tear the Playhouse down. It's like they're perfectly willing to let the Playhouse stand. Yeah. But the people who are involved, Ali Leroy, who he created.
He was a Chris Rock guy.
Everybody Hates Chris. Yeah, I mean, so it's like these are really talented, funny people. But yeah, it is great. I got my first residual checks last week. Very exciting.
Can you say what they were for? You don't want to say
money-wise?
How much money?
$14.
No, really?
No. I mean, I wouldn't. Not enough to live on.
But it's still free money.
It's like found money.
It
feels
money,
like that. Yeah.
I framed my lowest one which could sound arrogant until I tell you the figure. It's 12 cents. I framed it.
There's something
I figured if
hilarious
I don't
about that.
cash that, no one's gonna. It's not gonna affect someone's balancing their checkbook.
Oh yeah. When I get my sound scan or whatever for people who've bought like online digital tracks.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh great, 3 people bought this track off my CD. That's
Yeah, it's not even. It's actually getting money, but it reminds you that you wanted to do better.
yeah.
But
yeah.
did you find, and I had this for a while, I had that exact situation where I did a sitcom on ABC. It was literally for a while I was on Wednesday nights, but for a while we were on Friday nights. So I was on Friday nights ABC primetime lineup.
TGIF.
With Norm Macdonald, okay? It was right after TGIF. And Norm is as dark and as funny as you could imagine. And after a while, he tried to keep it edgy when we were on Wednesday nights the first year, but he just gave up, and the notes were always make it more friendly. And we literally had an executive, this woman, who, when she was giving notes, she would refer to the sitcom Growing Pains. She goes, "Did you ever see the episode of Growing Pains?"
Like that's what you got into this business to do.
And Norm would literally go like this. He would hold his stomach, and he'd go, "No, I never saw that one." And I found that while I was doing that, my stand-up, to equal it out, got darker.
Dude,
like when
that's
I would
exactly it,
when I
yes.
get away from that atmosphere, my road gigs were very, like, people were always going, "Whoa, where are you going?" Like, because I was so trying to compensate.
Why do you think Bob Saget's Bob Saget? Do you know what I mean? It's like just this bile needs to go
I
somewhere.
need an escape.
Yeah.
Did you find that happening with that?
Dude, it is true. It's interestingly, I am actually shooting my next DVD in like 2 weeks, and it's a lot darker than I didn't necessarily realize it until I put it all together. But it's like my wife says, like, there's a lot of angry kind of. And I don't want to just. Hope it's still funny.
Sure, yeah.
But there's a lot of mortality involved in sort of darkness, and and I can't imagine. That has to have something to do with the fact that I worked for a year and a half on a
Definitely.
family television show.
I mean, it could help, But no, you're right. You need somebody around you to sort of pull you back, because you can get caught in that thing where you think it's funny when really it's just dark.
You're right. It's like, I'm going to push through to the other side. I'm going to shoot the moon and get so dark that it becomes hilarious. Like, no, that's just morbid. It's not really funny.
You need eventually, because this was always my problem with what they called alternative comedy for years. The best alternative comedy was always just comedy. It always turned out to be punchlines.
Yeah.
You need the story or the improv act or whatever, or Janine Garofalo's story about waiting for a bus for 15 hours. There needs to be funny punchlines in that. And to Janine's credit, she would make it funny a lot of times, but some people would just get so self-indulgent and obnoxious and think that my sarcastic tone
just
about a
sound
UPS
like
guy,
I'm being funny.
Right, yeah. Now, this is the one you're taping April 6th at the
April 4th.
April 4th at the Wilbur.
The Wilbur in Boston. If you
played that place a few times, it's the best.
I've never played there. Yeah,
Dude,
I'm from Boston. I've never played there.
You're
though.
gonna love it.
Yeah.
It's the best place to do comedy. I just did a gig there about a month ago, and I played there a few years ago too. And it's a great place to do a DVD.
Good.
So it's a good choice. I've had moments where, like, my stand-up is I'll be killing, and then I'll go too dark and I'll get like a woo. And then I get mad at the audience for being offended. And then I go to a place where, God, now I'm in a 10-foot hole.
Yeah, you're right. It is funny how you can tell yourself a million times, don't get mad at the audience, because it's just there's nothing to be gained by it. It's not even that it's morally wrong. It's just, you're not going to win.
And these are people who technically paid to see you, and they're supporting you.
Yeah.
And this business that you're in, the profession that you're in, and to get mad at them is just so
it's not
self-destructive.
It's not 1,000 therapists sitting in the audience. They're just people who went out because it's Kim's birthday. It's not.
It's Shaniqua's bachelorette party. We don't need to be yelled at.
I was in St. Louis. Have you ever done the Funny Bone in St. Louis?
Sure, yeah, in Westport.
Yeah, it's it's a drunk. It's a pretty drunk crowd.
Maniac crowds in St. Louis. Yeah.
And I'm like trying to basically treat them as dress rehearsals for my DVD. And after the first show, I'm like, what am I doing? It's like they're not here to listen to me recite my hour of stand-up.
It's hard to do that,
no,
man.
You can't.
That's the place where I've told the story before on the show. It was midnight, and I had done 3 shows in one night, and they kept sending me shots on stage that I kept doing. And I was ossified drunk. And 20 minutes left in my set. I remembered as a kid on the side of the White Castle carton, it said St. Louis. It was one of the cities that White Castle was in. This is me in Jersey, remembering as a kid. So I was so hungry, I said, is there a White Castle in this town? And it was like Springsteen going into Born to Run. It was like, and And I said to these 3 guys in the front row, I said, can you take me to White Castle? They go, yeah. So these guys drove me to White Castle, and I got like 12 double cheeseburgers. But they were matching me shot for shot. And I remember, it's funny you mentioned St. Louis, the Funny Bone. I've never, is that me? I'm sorry.
That's you. It ain't me.
I'm sorry.
I'm a professional, Artie. I'm not.
I'm very sorry. No, it's funny when you mention St. Louis, the Funny Bone. Yeah, and there's a lot of drunk towns, man.
Yeah.
That was extraordinary.
I've had the best sets of my life and the worst sets of my life there.
Yeah, me too.
I made the mistake once of mentioning that I was from Boston, and there's a music club next door to it where they have like bands. And
yeah,
stuff.
and you can hear it when you're on stage.
Yeah.
You can hear the music.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's the wall reverberates.
Yes. Oh, yeah. You can hear like, oh, they're playing Brick House next door. Yeah, they play like jazz funk stuff. But it also serves, I guess, as the St. Louis area Cleveland Browns bar.
Yes.
I guess one of the owners is a Cleveland Browns fan.
That's right. Because there's like a Steeler bar in every town.
Yeah.
In the Midwest, there's a Browns bar everywhere.
Yeah. But they all,
that's right.
all the dudes after the Browns game funneled into the showroom, and they're all friends of the owners, so of course they feel like entitled to do anything.
Yeah.
And I mentioned I'm from Boston, and the whole thing is I'm joking that I hate all the Boston sports teams, and yet all this guy gets on to, you love Tom Brady and Tom Brady.
Shut up.
And then I don't know what I'm allowed to say on the show and not, so I'm going to.
Well, you can't curse.
Yeah.
We're under FCC.
Well, this guy, there's a word that sometimes people use to refer to certain kinds of men. It rhymes with the word blaggit.
Saget.
Yeah, Saget. So basically he just, for 10 minutes, you can't fight with certain people because the guy was just like, Saget,
Right.
Saget. It's
unwinnable.
And then
it's unwinnable.
And that was 10 minutes into the set. So.
No, that's right. It's right next to it. It's almost as if the owners are like, do you have any idea in the business you're in? I mean, you're next to there's a paper thin balsa wood wall between you and a band. They call it a jazz club, and it's really just jump around.
Yeah.
And the audience is right on top of you. They're instructed if they buy a stand-up comic a shot on stage, that's fine. Don't say no. There's a show going on, and if a shot gets to the stage, you have to do it.
Yeah.
Because they'll say, blag it, 45. Like, I've been through that where, especially with me and my reputation, if a shot, I would say to the waitress, like, look, guys, you got to help me out here. Put iced tea in it or something after the 15th one.
Yeah.
Because I had 3 shows to do sometimes. And if a shot gets to the stage, I have to do it. They're not going to not let me not do it.
No. I've just gotten to I turned 40 in a couple weeks, which
you look good, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was fishing for compliments. No,
really, calm down. It's like the Real Housewives or something.
I'm turned 40, guys. But I recently, it took me this long to realize I have never done a shot and was happy that I did it, ever. Like, I've either been
not
neutral.
even the immediate buzz, like, right?
No, because I'd rather just have a drink. Do you know what I mean? It's
that makes total sense.
I've just never been like, man, great decision, Finnegan. Good job.
It doesn't make any sense.
No.